Coming up, Saints defend their holy grail for a third time in a row. The French Revolution begins with Toulouse on their way to Super League. And we give our thoughts on the Dolphins making a splash in the 2023 NRL season. Yes, hello and welcome to the Sideline Chat podcast, a one-stop shop for rugby league. Along with Mark Hendry, I'm Connor Marcells, and today we're going to bring you your Betfred Super League Grand Final wrap. Can't believe it. End of the season, both sides of the world.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what the bloody hell we're going to do now. Well, don't fret. We're going to talk all about it coming up. But first, we got to get down to business. And we do have to talk about that grand final.
Yes, that's grand final. And what an entertaining clash it was. Both these teams went hammer and time for the whole match from start to finish.
Yep. St. Helens coming out triumphant over the Catalan Dragons, 12 points to 10. 1v2 in the grand final. French side at top of the table, but England still manages to triumph. But for how much longer can they achieve this?
Well, I honestly don't know because Catalans are firing and coming on as a good time, as we've mentioned numerous times throughout this first season, you could say, of the podcast. And yeah, it was edge of your seat stuff, nail-biting stuff. You could not tell what was going to happen next.
You would have thought that Catalan were going to be in trouble early, but they were just absorbing absolute punishment and pressure from the St. Helens middles. You just looked at Saints, you think, oh God, it's just going to be a matter of time before they break the line open. And they almost did. They almost did do that. But
yes.
They just held them. The early 20 minutes, it was just literally a blue wall of Saints just charging forward. That Catalan had no forward momentum whatsoever.
No, they certainly didn't. But Catalan's finally got into a rhythm. Like it is what I think of their first real. I know their finals playoffs games were massive as well, but this is bigger than that. So it's kind of like the first big pressure game in the Super League.
It's Wembley on steroids. It's a Challenge Cup final on steroids. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah. So it's kind of the first really big pressure game with the premiership on the line, and they just failed. But it's good experience for them coming to next season.
I wouldn't say they did fail. I mean, this is the second league leaders in 4 years outside the old guard that have gone down to someone of that said old guard. But really, what Catalan did, I mean, you look at the last 4 years. We've talked about the last 4 years in previous weeks leading up to now. But you just have to think their defense wasn't right when it mattered the most.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I can't disagree but other than that, they were pretty strong. Like they were pretty good. Besides that,
they were in the fight. Believe me, they were up for this. I called it straight away. This was going to be a very tight grand final, and a tight was exactly what we got out of it.
Yes. Tight, unpredictability, physical and intense, and all those
physical,
things.
Very physical.
Very much like the NRL Grand Final. Physical, intense, close, unpredictable, etc.
I got to say, Kevin the Garmer, he was crowned Harry Sunderland an award winner, presented by the family of Rob Burrow, who, of course, for the last couple of years has now been battling motor neurone disease. Not very pleasant. But for Rob to be there to present that award, it was just a beautiful testament. It truly was.
I can't disagree with you. Having him there to present that award was truly spectacular to watch.
And for St. Helens, and from this point of view, their right edge, I mean, first, Kevin the Garmer's first try, you looked at it and you thought, how did he manage to get that down when it looked like Catalan had racked him up?
Yeah, exactly. But we know what he's capable of, and he's shown what he is capable of yet again.
All right. So Kevin the Garmer, 2 tries, 147 running meters, 7 tackle breaks. Do you think he was clearly the Harry Sunderland medalist?
I honestly do not know. Like, yes, he put in a brilliant performance and got those 2 magnificent tries. But watching the game, it was so hard to call who was going to be man of the match.
Were you thinking someone from the losing side? A bit controversial. It's never happened in Super League. Twice in the NRL, it's happened in recent years.
I mean, there was plenty of options from both the winning side and the losing side, but pretty much both teams deserve basically all both teams deserve to get something out of it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think we have to acknowledge with the Catalan Dragons, they created opportunities. Their problem was they turned too much ball over. They made simple, fundamental errors they wouldn't have made at any other time of the year, but just happened to make it on the grand final. The drop balls, the intercept, that one kick that they didn't find touch with.
Oh, mate, that is not like Maloney whatsoever. Maloney doesn't do that often.
They did not convert their opportunities that they got, and they made too many mistakes out of it.
But a crucial part of the game was a Josh Drinkwater 40-20.
Oh, that 40-20. Wow. And then the try assist from Drinkwater on top of that, not long after.
No, it was pretty much the next kind of set after the 40-20. He set that up. So
how did Mike McMeekin get into position to handle that?
I honestly do not know.
Can anyone point to me at what point that was crazy? And you think of it, I believe the scores were locked up at 6 apiece by about at that point, or maybe 6-4 in favor of St. Helens, and they managed to sneak in with that try, and then they're leading for most of the game up until that point.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much 6-4 in favor of Saints at halftime, right up until Catalans got that try. So once they scored that, put Catalans in front, but then they couldn't quite get finished off because of Nguama's second try.
Now, of course, it wouldn't be a rugby league grand final anywhere in the world if there was not some controversy before, during, or after the game, or in this case, during and the fallout after that. And I got to say, the Catalan president, Bernard Wash, he did not miss.
No, he certainly did not.
Speaking with Le Independent, Perpignan-based newspaper, he was not happy with the punch-up that Sione Matautia and James Maloney got into early on in the game.
It was like the very first thing that happened.
I don't understand what Liam Moore was. I don't want to question the referee whatsoever, because we all know the referee cops a whole lot of shit.
Yes.
Either side. I mean, 6 again, and everyone knows that story.
Yeah.
But if we thought 6 again was bad, then what was this in action?
Well,
I mean, we saw Matautia throw a punch at Maloney, but Liam Moore does not take action on this.
No, and you also had Sam Tompkins and Morgan Knowles involved as well, trying to stop Matautia and Maloney. But to let it go like that, I think it was his first grand final he refereed.
I think that was the case.
But I reckon nothing against, like we said, the referees or the players. Like, you're going to get heated moments in the grand final.
And then he's also cited that Lachlan Coote, partly in a penalty back into play that Catalan got the kickoff. They said he put his foot into touch before he leapt from the field of play to bat that ball back.
Yes.
He's saying,
yes.
And that was missed as well.
Well, that was clearly missed. The touch judge was literally right there watching it, and he put his foot clearly into touch before tapping the ball back.
And I think this is the part that President Wash is not happy about. And this is part of that interview, well, 2 parts of it, saying, as long as I'm the president of the Catalan Dragons, I will never play a Super League final again until we have 3 Australian referees. Going on to say, I'm furious. At some point, I say, stop. I wanted to react like an English gentleman because I have a lot of respect for other competition. But I saw the match again, and I tell myself that I cannot let this go by without reacting and making a decision. So he's clearly not happy with the fact that an English referee, he showed some level of bias. bias against the French side. I think he's clearly really got some sort of cross-channel Anglo-French and bubbling sentiments under there. But to be fair, it's the French.
Well,
of course,
yeah.
they have mixed feelings towards the English.
Yeah, understandable. But I don't know that I can see what his point of view is saying, but the teams don't decide who referees the game.
No, they don't. The RFL and Super League make that call on who referees the game. But I think what Bernard Roche's qualm is that as well as looking at building up the game in France, because we've got to remember there's a potential World Cup 3 years out where they could be, or 4 years, I would say, out in France, a wonderful golden opportunity to grow the game back, or the game back in that country. He's also looking to say, well, if we're going to get more French players into this sport, why aren't we going to get more French henchmen into the officiating roles?
I mean, that might happen as French get bigger. Like, some of the ones that are refereeing, say, in the championship, they might get moved up, or, you just don't know. But hopefully we do see that happen.
But like you said, you did see his point of view that the lack of French officials, referees, is both, or mainly just in the RFL structures. And what happens if we have a similar situation to this again? Is he going to boycott the grand final and Catalan not play? That wouldn't be a good look for the game at all.
Or no, it wouldn't, and I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well, let's hope not. But he has definitely ruffled some feathers with the RFL and Super League launching an investigation into his comments.
Yes.
Well,
we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that.
I would probably think at least a €30,000 fine.
Possibly, I'd say that's all.
Yeah, I would probably think because he's the president of the club, it's going to be 5-digit euro figure.
Yeah. Well, if it's anything more than that, I think it'll be a bit too harsh. So what you said up there about the fine will probably be sufficient.
It's also a bit unfortunate with Catalan because, I mean, this was their first grand final in 15 years, is being in the top flight. And it was also James Maloney's last game before he linked up with Lesignan in the French Championship.
Yes, so he couldn't quite get that fairy tale finish.
I mean, he was sharp at the boot. He kicked free from free. Don't get that part wrong.
Exactly.
But
it was just I'd say he was one of the most experienced players in the Catalan side. He has played numerous grand finals over here in Australia in the NRL. So this
was his fourth grand final appearance with 5 clubs.
Yes, so
as far as I can remember.
Yes, so we would have taken all of the experience from over here into that grand final over there, and just couldn't quite get the edge over what is a very experienced St. Helens side who has now gotten 3 in a row.
It's ironic that he lost his first grand final with the Warriors 10 years ago. And now we fast forward in his last grand final and last game, he's lost again.
Yeah,
That's painful irony.
Yes, painful. Very painful indeed.
But you're right. On the other side of the coin, St. Helens have now become the second Super League side to claim the three-peat. 3 consecutive years where they have been crowned champions.
Yes. And just a quick note to add on top of that, St. Helens in the Betfred Women's Super League Championship also
28-0 over the Leeds Rhinos.
So they've got the double whammy this season.
I believe they said out of all 6 major trophies, Saints have won 5 of them, both men's and women's game.
It wouldn't surprise me. The only thing I would say they didn't get was the
League Leaders Shield.
Yeah. But good on them. That shows that they're well established in the men's and the women's.
Oh, wow. I think there'll be a lot of questions between this current Saints side and the Leeds Rhino side of the golden age that did that three-peat between 2007 and 2009. I think there are going to be a lot of passionate debate, both in Merseyside and in West Yorkshire, about who's actually the better side that claimed the three-peat.
Maybe.
I'm not going to get into this. I mean, I read Rob Burrows' autobiography. It could get very heated very fast. Now, because I know the Leeds Rhino story as much as any dedicated Leeds fan, but I've also seen the Saints juggernaut that has been gone top 4 league leaders, second, and 3 straight champions.
Yeah. Maybe what they should do or could do, which I highly doubt will happen, have the Leeds side that went 3 in a row and the St. Helens side that went 3 in a row play together and see who really does come out on top.
No.
I know it won't happen, but how cool would that be if it could happen? That will be awesome, but it won't happen at all.
No, I don't think it will happen.
Won't.
You think of it. I mean, you got Rob Burrow, and we know his case.
Yeah.
Danny Maguire. Most of the Leeds side is long retired. The only ones who are probably still active at this point, Callum Watkins, who's battling consistent knee injuries, and Ryan Hall, who's had his best season in 3 years.
Yes.
I think,
yeah,
I think, like we talk about when it comes to NRL dynasties, they're just different eras.
They definitely
First
are.
and foremost, they are different eras.
I was just about to say that both the Leeds that went 3 in a row and this current St. Helens side that gone 3 in a row, they've been the best in their eras, like in their prime position, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying that Leeds are bad or St. Helens have been bad, but in the current, as they are now, they're in their, St. Helens are in their, you could say best form, and Leeds were when they won their 3 straight. Like I said, not disrespecting anyone, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
But I think that next year will be a major test for the Saints.
Oh yes,
could. I don't know if they could go 4 in a row and give Christian Wolf his own 3-peat.
Well,
I don't know if that's even possible at this point. But I think that's a little bit too far ahead. And hopefully we do get a World Club Challenge next year, which I think between St. Helens and the Penrith Panthers will be completely possible.
Oh, yeah.
The positions of our 2 countries in the age of the stuff that we're not allowed to talk about, lest Susan Wojcicki, he tries to smite us with censorship.
Yeah, we don't want to go there at all.
Not going there. Not going there.
No.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the channel, and with £1 million on offer, Toulouse Olympique down the Featherstone Rovers 34 points to 12 to not only win the £1 million game, but to become the 3rd French side to take their place in the Betfred Super League, following in the footsteps of the ill-fated Paris Saint-Germain, the current league leaders, the Catalan Dragons. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just 3rd French side to participate in Super League and club number 24 overall.
I'm saying this right now. I am looking forward to the French derbies next year already.
Oh, yeah.
They are going to be brilliant.
You know what? That's what they should open up the Super League season with, a French derby.
Held at where? Toulouse home ground or Catalan's home ground?
Either way. Just get a French derby arranged.
Yep. They'll probably already be working on that as we currently speak.
Now, look, I was very impressed with Toulouse's defensive efforts early on, because I think everyone would have been critical of them in that first half against the Batley Bulldogs in their semi-final. But they learned the lessons from Batley, and they turned it on against Featherstone in the first half, straight up.
Yeah, they certainly did. They when pretty much had been playing all season long in the first half, and second half, yeah, not so much, but they were still good enough to win and get promoted to the Super League.
You felt a little bit nervous when Brett Ferris scored that double to keep Featherstone in touch in the second half, especially with about 28 minutes left on the clock when he bagged that second try, I think, from that point in time.
Yes, it was very nerve-wracking. Like, as I was watching the game, it was like, oh, here we go. What's going to happen here? Are Featherstone going to come back and bring down Toulouse's, what you could say, a pretty,
Undefeated run since
that
2020.
too, yes, and a pretty decent lead that had built up during the game. They were up 16-0 at half time to lose. So, but I thought, well, anything still could have happened there on in. It's just that Featherstone made a lot of pretty much errors in the first half, but then that kind of
And their
switched
left
around in the
edge
second.
defensively was unable to hold out to Toulouse. I think that combination between Dominic Peyrou and Mathieu Jossamy, that was just crisp to watch, especially the man of the match in the £1 million game, Mathieu Jossamy, with his double to give to Luke. Well, he played his part.
Yes.
And I think it's wonderful that this young French talent is now starting to really shine through, and there is a lot of opportunities moving forward with this.
Well, and like we have mentioned, France are going to be on the world stage in a few years' time. Well, probably in the next couple of years with the Olympics, the Rugby League World Cup, and I think the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, 2023, the Rugby World Cup.
So you got two French teams coming into their prime, going extremely well in the league, and then you got those three major events in years to come. It's looking good. Good.
It's remarkable because this was a 20-year journey that Toulouse were on. They were denied entry to Super League all the way back in 2006 when they picked the Catalan Dragons over them. They dropped out of the RFL structure once. Then in 2016, they came back, and over the last 5 years, they've gone from League One to the Championship, and now here they are in the Betfred Super League for 2022.
Unbelievable.
It's a remarkable rise. The last 5 years of that journey to create that remarkable rise is to finally get there.
Yeah. And hopefully that rise continues very deeply into the Super League. Like, hopefully they stay in the Super League for many, many years to come.
Well, that'll be the thing. There'll be a lot of pressure to try and stay in Super League for next season because there's a lot of talk they could go to 10 teams for 2023. So potentially, in order for Toulouse to survive, one, they can't afford to finish last.
No.
Two, they need to take on board the lessons that the Leeds Centurions and the London Broncos went through in their seasons in the top flight that didn't last long. But three, most importantly, they need to be able to be mid-table to try and survive. Because if the bottom three teams are going to go, well, we don't know. It's still up for debate. But for me, at least a 7th or 8th place finish would be enough to try and guarantee their survival if they were going to cull the bottom three teams.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get a bit of...
Well, 7th or 8th, maybe. 9th. 9th at the very least for a pass.
I'm going to get ahead of myself here, maybe. And I would love to see, it's probably way too early to predict, but I'd love to see Toulouse make it into the playoffs in their first year of Super League. Because the momentum that they've carried on since 2020, right through all 2021, heading into 2022, it's going to massively pay on. But Super League is a different game to the Championship. This is
the pinnacle. This is what they've been preparing for 5 years since they re-entered the RFL structure. So they need to be ready for this.
Yes, and I'm sure they definitely will be.
Well, the time will come, but brilliant achievement for Toulouse and for the former Catalan Dragons captain Rene Casti to bow out, guiding Toulouse into Super League. I think it is a remarkable achievement to cap off his career.
Yes, it certainly was. And they let him take the last kick of the game as well. Like the last conversion, as after the full-time siren, I must add. But
Did they? I didn't think they took that conversion.
No, they took it.
Ford scored.
No, they took it. No, that was the main goal kicker.
Mark Carrella.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No, sorry, I did get that wrong. Yes, they did take the conversion after Ford scored, and they let Casti kick it, but he missed it. But hey, they'd won. They'd wrapped up the game like
Yeah,
probably 10, 15
completely
minutes
wrapped
earlier.
up. So
Why not?
for Featherstone, another remarkable season from them, because I think we got to. I didn't know that they were actually a part-time side until
No, me neither.
James Webster mentioned it in his pre-game talk that they were a part-time side. I thought they were one of the. I honestly believe they were one of the full-time sides.
Yes, so
looking to
did
get
I.
into Super League, but no, apparently not. They were part-time, just like the Batley Bulldogs and probably several other clubs in the championship.
And now, well, now even the London Broncos, you can add in onto that list.
Well, I'll tell you what, the championship's going to be a bit more interesting now that Toronto's no longer in the RFL structures. They're with the NARL now.
Yeah.
And Toulouse is now in Super League. So that was essentially, over the last 4 years, two of the best championship sides are no longer there. So it's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic's going to work out.
Well, you got plenty of clubs there, part-time and full-timers. Featherstone, and they continue their run next year, that will be good. Halifax, they're being up there this season. Batley as well, so there's still plenty there.
We'll find out when the moment is right.
Yes.
Now, talk of international football. Oh, it's not the England-France test match next week. Don't worry. Ori, we will cover that, but we'll also cover the England Knights taking on Jamaica's Reggae Warriors at the Menderhose Jungle in Castleford. And the squads have been submitted both by the Jamaican head coach Jermaine Coleman and I believe Paul Anderson of the England Knights side. For the Jamaican side, it reads as this: Greg Johnson, Jordan Turner, John Margin, Keenan Tomlinson, Danny Bravo, Ross Peltier, James Woodburn Hall, Ash Golding, Michael Lawrence, Aaron Jones-Bishop, Jordan Andrade, Jaimel Coleman, Mo Agoro, Jacob Ogden, Evia McDonald, Isaac Farrell, Joel Farrell, Joe Brown, Ben Jones-Bishop, Christopher Ball, and Kadeem Williams. That's your Jamaican side. Meanwhile, the England Knights, and there's a lot of interesting names in here. Matty Ashton, Ellis Longstaff, Danny Walker, I should say, Connor Wrench, Jack Broadbent, Levi Edwards, Morgan Gannon, Tom Holroyd, Lewis Dodd, Matty Lees, Aaron Smith, Matty English, Will Price, Ollie Wilson, Sam Halsall, Liam Marshall, James McDonald, Kai Pierce-Paul, George Lawler, and Mikey Lewis. What do you make of that England Knights side?
Well, you got the young gun in Will Price, and we know what he is very capable of as in the few games he has played this season, and he's going to be a big one to watch.
Kai Pierce-Paul, for me, is a very interesting pick. And I think Aaron Smith is also a very interesting pick as well, because he hasn't really had much game time this year. He was there at the start of the year when they were missing a whole lot of names. They were missing Morgan Knowles. I believe Lachlan Coote didn't start the year. But since then, and I mean, you had to have Jack Wellsby on the bench. Yes. So he was really a casualty of not just the injuries. It's when they did come back, like your Bentleys, your Knowles and others. But he also became a casualty of Jack Wellsby's success.
Yeah.
Yes. But otherwise, I mean, Mikey Lewis, outstanding year for Hull KR. Jack Broadbent, very capable back at the Leeds Rhinos.
Even Lewis Dodd.
Oh, Lewis Dodd, yeah. And what about at his first full year?
Yeah.
Here as well.
Premiership winner.
Yeah, and also with the Jamaican side, Jordan Turner. Very interesting where he's going to end up, because you think of it, he's played this year, he's played wing, he's played center, and he's played a little bit of standoff.
Yes. For
Jamaica to succeed at this, I would think Turner has to be at standoff and get his hands on the ball as much as he can. So I think he could really offer something in attack there. And then, of course, you got some other good names in there. Ash Golding, Michael Lawrence, especially Michael Lawrence, offering up that experience. And Ben Jones-Bishop, I think a name no one's really, I wouldn't say heard of, but I think would forgotten in recent times since his days at Wakefield.
Well, I think he played, a couple games this season, but not very many. And so
he's been at York the whole time, really.
Yeah.
So he's been on his own Super League quest.
So he's gone a bit quiet, but if he's back in
But
there, hopefully he can put his name back.
We got to
there.
remember, he was with the Leeds Rhinos during their golden age, and he's a grand final winner, so he's offering up a lot of experience there.
That is very, very true indeed.
It's very interesting indeed. And of course, Greg Johnson from the Batley Bulldogs also had a good year, especially around the playoffs.
Yes.
And for Jordan Turner's testimonial, I think this will be very special for him.
It certainly would be. And let's hope that he gets the right result. I'd love to see Jamaica do well, don't get me wrong.
Well, I think for Jamaica, this is very important for their World Cup build-up because they're going to get one test match in now. Hopefully, they get another test match in next year, and then they'll go into the World Cup. They'll have a plenty of opportunity to build on cohesion and to build on combination, the same way all the major nations would.
Yeah. And if they build something, well, you know, they could well and truly be one of the forces in the world, maybe.
It's a start. Well, we got to help with development, and I think that will be a job for the Americans to help with that development.
Yes, it would be.
All right, prediction time. Who wins it and why?
Like I just said, I'd like to see Jamaica do well to upset England. That's got a very strong
England
side.
Knights. England Knights, remember,
Knights.
it's the second level behind England.
Yes. But England Knights have got a lot of experience there and got good youngsters like Will Price and the like. So I'm actually going to say Jamaica 1-12. It's going to be a close one.
You're going Jamaica?
Yeah. I'd just love to see. I'd like to see a nation that
the underdog. You want to see the underdog get up?
Yeah, because you don't really hear of Jamaica in rugby league very often. But
well, they're only just recently emerging.
Yeah, so I like to see the emerging sides do well. Not like I don't want to see England do well, the England Knights do well, don't get me wrong, but I would like to see Jamaica do well.
Well, I agree with you, but I think you look at the terms of quality, they have a couple of Super League or Super League standard names in that Jamaican side. But I look at the England Knights side, and I'm looking at the likes of Aaron Smith, who is what I think there's still a lot of questions of whether he becomes the heir apparent to James Roby now that Joey Lussick will be joining them in the preseason. So that's going to be an interesting 1-2 battle or to find out who's going to succeed Roby when the time comes. Yep. But I'm looking at all those other names in the side. Matty Ashton, a very capable outside back from the Warrington Wolves, as is Connor Rett. And I'm looking at forwards like Tom Holroyd and Matty Lees and Matty English. Liam Marshall, the most experienced man in that side, as well as names like Kai Pierce-Paul and Mikey Lewis, who can offer a point of difference.
Well, that is very true.
I got to go with the England Knights 1-12 here. I think they offer up a lot more than what Jamaica does.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see your point of view from there as well.
And finally, a little bit of NRL news for who's in this grand final week wrap. A 17th team has been decided.
And we've also already just got the coach in.
Oh, really? So that's just breaking through now?
Yes, 7 minutes ago. The worst kept secret, Wayne Bennett agrees to a 3-year deal.
So there we go. At the Dolphins, and whether they get a regional name or not, but Wayne Bennett will coach the 17th team in the NRL from 2023. How about that?
I kind of knew that was coming too. We all kind of knew it was coming to an extent, though.
Well, yes, it's sort of was. But the ARL has decided that the NRL license will go to the Redcliffe Dolphins. At this stage, they are currently known only as the Dolphins. And as we are recording this before 3 o'clock, they are going to call a press conference in Brisbane to really just announce that, celebrate, really. I think celebration would be the word they're using right now. And I got to say,
this is interesting. I'm surprised they're not keeping Redcliffe in the name, though.
Well, I think there's sort of the argument is at the moment they are just the Dolphins with no regional name in front of them. But I think this press conference, they will choose to announce it as the Moreton Bay Dolphins.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, we know they're going to be playing out at Suncorp Stadium for 75% of their home games, but they're still going to be hailing from Moreton Bay. So I would think the Moreton Bay Dolphins has a nice ring to it.
It certainly does. And I honestly quite like the name Brisbane Firehawks as well, like especially the Firehawks part of it. But hey, they might come in later on.
There's still a chance, but this is what Peter Volandis had to say about this. He said that he would also like to acknowledge and thank the other bids in teams for the work they had put into their submissions. They were all at the highest caliber and highlight the strength of rugby league in Queensland at this point in time. They will become the fourth Queensland team, the Dolphins, and he said he would further strengthen our game as the number one sport in the state of Queensland. And looking at their promotional video, with all $100 million in assets, fitness center, aquatic center, the league club backs onto the stadium itself. So
yes,
prime time seating right there. A shopping center as well.
Wow.
I mean, name one other club at the NRL level or future NRL level that has a shopping center. No one. Literally no one. No one owns a shopping center. These guys, we know that money talks in this game, but they've really taken it to another level.
Oh, definitely. Even the joint bids of what they were trying to get, the Firehawks or the Jets in, all the people behind those two teams also tried their absolute hardest, but the Dolphins have clearly come out on top with, like I said, the shopping centre, etc.
Well, talk about financial stability. I mean, shopping centre, you're going to encourage tourism.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, we know that it's sort of like the Sharks as well, because they got a whole lot of investment into development properties and into a golf club. But shopping centre is a pretty smart thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I don't think many teams would have seen that one come on before.
No, I didn't even know they owned a shopping centre. Or run off the Leeds club, but no, I think they're going to be financially stable. And I think this is why the ARL decided to give them this license, because of that financial stability and the strong assets off the field. And now that they got Wayne Bennett as their head coach, who is probably going to be handed the blank check, as well as on a blank check contract, meaning he could be earning $1 million a year from 2 years from now.
Well, yes. But I reckon what Wayne Bennett will be doing will be sneakily.
He will be officially a rugby league shadow. He will be everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
He will be shadowing everyone. So I think the 16 clubs better step up and take note, especially in their recruitment department. I don't care if it's the Broncos, the Eels, the Bulldogs, even the West Tigers. I think everyone's going to have to watch over their shoulder to make sure or that Wayne Bennett doesn't appear at your home game.
Yeah.
Because if he appears, you're probably thinking, oh no, he's going to plan a raid on us.
Well, put it this way, I have heard a while ago, even before this was officially announced, that Munster could be going to the new club, which is now
a good excuse
Dolphins.
For the Melbourne Storm to get rid of him.
Well, exactly. So
after his recent indiscretion and after that white powder scandal.
Yes. So when that's come out, I thought if something happens again, he's gone. Which that is the case. If something does happen again, he's gone. But did he purposely do it though? Or not?
No one knows. No one really knows. But they're also saying with the Dolphins, if it is just going to stay as it is, we don't know. The press conference has started 3 minutes ago now, but we haven't been able to find it yet. But what they are saying is the structure of the season will change after 2022. Going back to 26 rounds, they say that there will be 12 more games played and all clubs will have 2 buys.
Yes.
Well, when I say buys, I mean
A week off.
no. Two buys that you can get points off, because realistically, everyone's going to have a buy at least once. But this is the problem.
Yeah.
They're going to say there's going to be 26 rounds that will be played. You have 17 teams.
Yes,
One team's going to miss out every week from 2023 until the next team is introduced when you get 9 games in.
Yes, that's true.
So,
but
essentially, but here's the problem: 7 rounds, only less than half the league's going to get a second bye out of this.
If you include the week off with State of Origin.
No, I think this is State of Origin included into it.
Okay. I thought it might have just been regular season, no Origin included whatsoever. But
no, 26 rounds, there'll be at least one team will have a bye every round. So every team, all 17 teams will get 1 bye each, but then there'll still be an extra 9 rounds where someone's going to get a second bye out of it. But only 2 of those will you get competition points off for not playing.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to figure that out. So, but
they got 1 year to hash out the 2023 draw. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And with this press conference, I might have more details in saying what they're going to say and the likes. But we'll bring
it's exciting. This will be the first new club since the Gold Coast Titans were admitted in 2007.
Yeah, it certainly would be. But there's also talk about having, I think, an 18th team in 5 years or something like that.
They're talking we're already talking a second New Zealand team by 2026. But I think if you open up the scope to Queensland even more, and if the PNG Hunters have a say, because they've declared they want to have an NRL side by 2025.
True.
I think the gates are wide open. And I think it's up to the punters to decide which jockey they want riding the 18th team horse.
But would you also throw in Perth into the mix as well? Good to see Perth having our own team.
I think that argument will pop up again. I think both for Perth and for South Australia to have a Perth team and an Adelaide team.
Yes.
But I think either way, before we reach 2050, I think the NRL is going to go back out to 20 teams again.
It wouldn't surprise me. More games, more money through the gate for fans.
Well, it might seem a bit controversial for me to say 20 teams because that's really looking too far ahead into the future. But if the talent pools are there, and if we grow the Pacific Island footprint, I don't see any reason why not. The NRL could probably run 20 teams again, like they did for their first season.
Yeah. So they can definitely do it. It's just a matter of what they're going to do and how quick they're going to do it.
It will be a matter for the NRL and the ARL and the bidders themselves. I think that will be the most important thing. But I think it's exciting that they've decided on the 17th team for 2023.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm going through an article as we speak, and there's like other names that could potentially throw up, like you said. You did say Moreton Bay, but it's also River City and Sun State. So look, there's just some of them.
I don't like Sun State.
Nah, River City.
Not good.
River City Dolphins. I still reckon Moreton Bay.
Moreton Bay. It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Moreton Bay Dolphins.
It does roll off a lot better, and it sounds a lot better as well.
But yeah, I got to say, congratulations to the Dolphins, whether they choose to stick with that or change it to Moreton Bay. I mean, it's 7 minutes into their press conference, so we really don't know at this point. No. But we will let you know if and when we do see this press conference back, and we'll fill you in on those details.
Yes, we will.
Well, that is full time from us on a very busy day for Rugby League. If you like this edition of the Sideline Chat podcast, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you never miss a week. of rugby league action. Once again, congratulations to the Dolphins on becoming the NRL 17th team. Congratulations to Toulouse Olympique for becoming the second French side in the Betfred Super League. And we'll be back with you next week for England v France. Along with Mark Hendry, I am Connor Marcellus, and you have been listening to the Sideline Chat podcast. We'll see you next week.
See yous.